Good morning, welcome to Morning Coffee with AP, and today we're going to be talking about whether you should start in a bulking phase or a cutting phase. Stay tuned. So we are back with another episode of Morning Coffee with AP. I got my man mug here, a little bit of coffee. And you want to know, should you go into your bulking phase or your cutting phase? And I call them gaining and dieting or gaining and losing phases. But essentially, a lot of people I see get caught up in, they're in the in-between phase, right? And then they start on a dieting phase, they start dieting down, they start looking smaller, like, no, I want to go backwards, I want to start putting on mass, I want to put on muscle, so they start going back up in their calories, so then they start gaining weight, gaining some body fat, and they're like, no, I don't want to look fat, I want to look lean. So what is the right answer? I think the first thing we need to do is to strategize and have a goal. We got to have a goal. If you don't have a goal, then there's nothing to hold you accountable to. What that goal means is having something specific, something that's measurable, and something that's going to have a timeline, all that kind of stuff, right? If we don't have that, then it's going to make it super difficult for you. So I would first write out a goal of what do you want to look like, meaning do you want to have more of going to have abs, or do you want to more look big in a shirt or have more strength? All that kind of stuff, right? Once we have that dialed in, now, I think the commitment to that goal is super huge, and that's what I mean about the accountability, the timeline, all of that. And so this is what I would say, what I see works very well. So a lot of people do, if they're in a bulking phase, they think they need to gain as much size as possible, but that's not true. To gain muscle mass, we need to stimulate the muscle, repair it, and be in a slight surplus in order to start gaining that tissue. That doesn't mean we have to be in a dramatic surplus. Meaning a surplus is just like having more calories than it takes your body to sustain its body weight, okay? So say we have a giant surplus, your body can only really build that muscle so fast. Meaning we're just going to put on some muscle, but also some body fat. And we don't want to accumulate as much body fat, right? Because that's not the whole goal. The goal is to put on muscle mass or strength and stuff like that. Same thing with dieting. We don't want to dramatically do a huge deficit because we don't want to lose all the muscle we just gained, right? We want to sustain that muscle mass so when we do lose body fat, we show it off. We have thicker, more muscle density, so when we have abs or have other parts of our body lean, we can actually see the muscle that we accumulated. So this is what I would say is a range of where I see best fit. If you are between the ranges of 10 to 16, 17% body fat. That is the range I would stay in. Okay, what I mean by that is you can usually start seeing the outline of your abs somewhere between 14, 15%, okay, to the outline. And then as you get leaner, obviously you see more of your abs. If you go above that 14, 15%, you kind of lose your abs altogether. So why I say that is because I like to stay around that range of a 12 all the way up to a 14% starting, if you're probably starting out somewhere in there, if you're in the in-between phase. The reason being is because when you're leaner, your body is more insulin sensitive, meaning it's going to be able to utilize those carbohydrates that you're eating a lot better. Insulin is the most anabolic hormone, so that means that we can utilize all the carbohydrates to train super intense with being a slight surplus. We'll put on muscle mass, but that means that we're not going to just put on a whole bunch of fat. What I mean by a slight surplus is anywhere from maybe 200 to 500 calories above your maintenance over time, right? And then slowly adding in, maybe after you hit a plateau, adding in another 100 calories, adding another 100 calories. So far, so be it. So same thing with the dieting phase. It's just a flip. And so also I say that range of maybe 12 to 14% starting out and then going down to about 10, then going back up to about 16% body fat is because our bodies have set points, what are called set points. And that set point is kind of based on your genetics. And so if you're a heavier set person, you'll have a higher set point of body fat, and that's okay. But maybe you're a naturally lean person, you have a lower set point. Well, that set point is kind of where you feel good, where your strength's good, your energy's good, you're not affected mentally at all. And that's where I like to stay if we're not going to a drastic measure of dieting for, say, a show or a photo shoot. We're going up and just trying to put on as much mass as possible to try and get as strong as possible. because when you start going in a surplus and you get to a higher body fat percentage, you're gets to a certain point where, say if you're a skinnier built person trying to gain a bunch of weight and you're trying to get to like 20% body fat, you're trying to put on like 30 pounds, right? There's going to be a certain point where your body is not, the hormones that regulate your hunger, leptin, ghrelin, stuff like that, they're going to regulate because they don't want you to gain any more weight, meaning you're not going to be as hungry, meaning pushing that higher caloric intake is going to actually get difficult for you. It's become a job. You might get tired, lethargic, and it's hard to sustain. Same thing with dieting. If you are a heavier set person dieting all the way down to, say, even 10% or 8% body fat, there's going to be a point where fat stores get smaller, our hormones are going to regulate you wanting to go back to that set point, and you're going to start becoming hungrier and hungrier. And when that happens, maybe your energy goes down, you get a little moody, and so that it makes it hard to sustain, right? So we want to find our sweet spot of where our body is, but I would say that staying in that range helps you not accumulate a bunch of body fat, but allows you to go down, look good, and then come back up, gain muscle mass, go down, look good, come back up, build muscle mass, and repeat that cycle over a long period of time, and you'll start seeing that every time you start dieting back down, you're going to look different. Either you're going to be the same body fat percentage at a higher weight, meaning you built muscle mass, or even if you stay at the same weight, the look of the muscle, the density of it, you're going to be more round, you're going to look bigger at that lower body fat percentage. I don't know how many times I've dieted down now, and I always diet down about this. I'm at the same weight but I look dramatically different. And that's just because of the time put into the gym day in and day out of the maturity of the muscle. So that's what I would say when bulking or cutting is, first have a goal and stick with that goal, because you got to be patient with the process. It's not going to happen overnight. You got to go for a good couple months, 3 months, whatever it is, to get down to that 10% body fat or whatever, and then reverse it, slowly adding calories back in, going back up into a surplus, and go back up to like that 15-16% body fat over a long period of time, so we can maximize on the muscle gains and minimize on the fat gain, right? So yeah, have a goal. I would stay in those ranges, just the calories like I said, and you should get really good results over an extended period of time, but still look good whatever season it is. So hopefully that was helpful, guys. Thanks for watching another episode of Morning Coffee with AP. If you have any other questions, comment below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like the content, turn off the post notifications. I'm going to be trying to do this every single morning. I would love to get your feedback. But like I said, post about more questions below so I can answer them in the next episodes.